Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. My name is Israa and today I'm going to be sharing with you more about myself, my background, and what I'm currently doing. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I graduated a few months ago and it's been my passion to be a nutritionist. And since I was a kid, I could see clearly the flaws in the system around the medical system specifically, but the various systems out there in the education, in politics, and a lot of different things. Specifically, I'm very passionate about seeing food as medicine first and foremost. As a nutritionist, I also recommend supplements, herbs, and this is something not a lot of people know about. They think of a nutritionist only recommending meal plans for a specific imbalance within the body. That's a very small part of it. We actually do protocols as nutritionists and we help people to break through certain imbalances in the body, whether it be autoimmune, whether it be diabetes, or mental health issues, hormonal issues, and the list goes on. It's pretty much almost everything within the body that's out of balance. You can find the medicine through food, through herbs, through certain supplements that will allow the body to heal itself. So when you provide the body what it needs, then the body can heal itself. And that's been my experience that I've been through my own healing journey that I speak about in other videos on my channel. So I'll continue about what I've studied and career and all that stuff in a bit. But my background, where I'm from, my parents are both from Lebanon. And I'm 33 years old, and it feels like I'm much older than that, but I feel very young within myself. And that's very important, you know, when you are following what your heart desires, you'll always feel like age doesn't matter. And what matters is that you are in this state of presence and joy within yourself. I have two brothers, two sisters. I was born here in Canada. I did live in Lebanon for a couple of years where I studied Arabic, so I do know how to speak, write, and read Arabic. I also lived in Japan for 2 years. It was a dream of mine to be living in Japan. Japan, since I was 10 years old, I knew one day I would go there, and throughout my teenage years until I was 23 years old, I was obsessed with anything to do with Japan. Of course, anime. I was into samurai kind of anime. Rurouni Kenshin was one of my favorites. That was the first anime that really sparked that massive interest in experiencing Japanese culture in person. And truly, Japan changed me, transformed me into a whole other person. I reclaimed more of my truth, but I had a lot of resistance, and because of that resistance, I went through a really hard time emotionally, mentally, and physically. I went through a health crisis when I was in Japan, and it took me a couple of years to come back into balance in my body. When was my spiritual awakening? I had my spiritual awakening while I was in Japan. I was actually aware and awake spiritually when I was a kid. I was aware of past lives. I was aware of energies, signs. I knew the universe can communicate to me or communicated to me through numbers. And certain energies were more magnified than other energies growing up. And I was just aware of all of this. But with that awareness, I felt very different. I didn't feel like I could belong with living with my parents. And that created a lot of loneliness and pain within myself. And so I closed down my abilities, my psychic abilities. I closed down my emotions, because there's a connection between psychic abilities and emotions. Because when you cut off yourself from feeling your emotions, you cut off from actually your psychic abilities as well. So there were many years of numbness for me. And with wanting to belong and to be accepted and loved, and my idea of connecting to God, I ended up following the belief of being Muslim. So I wore the hijab for 14 years, and from the age of 10 to 24. And the first month I was in Japan, I realized, well, this was a long time coming. It wasn't only in Japan. it was a realization that I could take it off. And I had someone there who I really cared for, a guy, and he had said something to me about it being the right place if I wanted to take it off. And that was something I had expressed to him. And so when I did take it off, I never looked back. I realized like this is not in alignment with me. It might have been in alignment at the time growing up, and it was a choice that I made at the time. But I realized at some point this was not a reflection of my inner world and who I am. And it's very much painful to live a life where you're wearing something or doing something that you know within your core that's not you. And so that was the thing that I had to shift into in order to step more into expressing myself and being more in joy. I was in so much depression, severe depression and anxiety issues. Up until up until last year, I had severe anxiety issues, complex PTSD, panic attacks for a year. Actually, I was able to overcome that without the use of medication. And of course, there is the place for the medication, but it's a temporary fix that I could see very clearly, and that's what inspired me to become a nutritionist. Naturopathic doctor is something that I also want to do, but for the time being, I don't want to burn myself out. It's a lot of studying. I'm not into studying too much. I rather keep it very simple for myself compared to a naturopathic doctor. It's a lot of work. I come from a very conservative family. And with that, there's a lot of difficulties. As a black sheep in the family, I could not truly express myself and be my truth, especially coming from a religious background. Being in my sensual, sexual expression is like super shameful and super like taboo. And there's no way I would be able to be in that frequency without being shamed and seen as like I'm asking for it. And that's a very sad and disgusting thing, in my opinion, when things like that are said. There's a lot of shadow around the masculine and the sort of blaming and lack of responsibility taken by a certain type of masculine archetypes. So what do I do for work right now? And this is something not a lot of people know, but I actually have been teaching online for the last 8 years. I teach on a website called italki.com, and I teach English and Arabic. And there, it's just been such a great experience being on that platform, learning how to just be confident within myself, teaching and learning a lot of skills in teaching. Also, my other interest in what I do is actually a meditation teacher, and I have a lot of different meditations on a meditation app called Insight Timer. You could check that out in the description box below if you'd like. I'm very passionate about meditation because it helps people to come back to their truth and their center and to step out of the bubble of emotion, or to be able to have a greater awareness of life in general. And that's a very important thing, especially going through difficulties, or especially just stepping back and seeing, okay, where am I going? What do I want to do with this? Or when going through triggers as well. And I'm also a Qigong practitioner, so I'm still learning Qigong, but I love sharing Qigong because it's brought such a balance to me emotionally and physically. It's a very powerful movement healing modality that I highly recommend for anyone. Now on to some juicy questions. What was my longest relationship? My longest relationship was 4 years. It was actually a couple months ago it ended. And it's very complicated for me when it comes to relationships. There's major, and still is, but I am like very far in my healing right now with the inner masculine, how my wounds around my father really impacted my ability to trust men and to be able to receive love or even believe that I could be loved by a man. And this is like a whole can of worms when it comes to my healing journey around the masculine. But it was 4 years, but it was not a full-on yes in relationship. Even previous to that, my relationships, I found it very difficult to know, yes, this is going to be a long-term relationship. I knew within myself it was a no. It's up until recently I realized like the depth of how much I can love, and also being cracked open. That was a major thing that happened to me recently, being cracked open, and in the sense of having a heartbreak with someone, and this has been such a powerful catalyst to me stepping more into my heart's energy. But relationships in general, they're a very, very difficult topic for me, and it's been a powerful journey of honing in or cultivating the medicine around this. And of course, for those, if you guys do resonate, it's obviously inner child work that needs to be done, and just realizing all of that connected to my inner child. So complicated topic, so I won't go there too much. And for the last question is, where have I traveled to? So I've been to a couple different countries. I've been to Costa Rica, Ecuador, I've been to Syria, I've been to, of course, Lebanon. I've been to Japan, China. I taught in China as well. I've been to Iran for like a spiritual pilgrimage. I've been to Egypt, but when I was really young. And the US, I've been all over the US quite a bit. I had an ex actually there. So I lived there for a couple of months, and that's pretty much it. And I'm hoping to travel more. I would love to go to Mexico so much. I would love to go to Japan again, and a couple of different countries for sure. Each country, each land has its own energetics, and to experience that would mean so much to me. So if you have any questions for me, feel free to comment below, and I would be more than happy to do a part 2 for get to know me kind of video. So like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you very soon.